Welcome to the Carbonite Jedi, where we rediscover the wonder of Star Wars, the original trilogy, and beyond. And tonight we're going to be doing a live stream recap and discussion of Andor Season 2. Thank you for joining me for this wonderful live stream. And I think this will be fun. I am going to say at first that I did enjoy Andor Season 2 with some caveats to it, but it overall, I was really addicted to it. Joining me tonight on my panel is my good friend Steve from Craven Something Scary, and he's here to join me and talk about Andor Season 2.
Hey,
And hey, Steve. So
good
did
to
you
be
ever
here, buddy.
think before you watched the series that you would be on here doing a live stream recap of Andor Season 2?
No, I honestly, I said for many months that I was never going to watch the second season. I was not going to watch it even the first episode. And I'm glad I did, and I gotta be honest, and I don't, I won't jump in too far here, but hey, Russell, um, I will tell you, man, if it wasn't for your consistent encouragement and reminding me to hang in there, to keep pushing those first 4.5 episodes, maybe,
Yeah.
I probably would have stopped on my own. So, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I didn't, because you were 100% correct. And I'll tease it right there.
Yeah. I actually, when we watched the first episode all together,
Yep.
me, you, and Scott,
Mm-hmm.
um, I actually thought of just not watching anymore at
Yep.
all.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think that's what we talked about, and we were like, we'll watch it together on here as a group, and it should be a lot more
Yeah.
fun. But I
Right.
mean, the first one kind of dragged so bad. It was like they released 3 opening
Mm-hmm.
day. They released 3 of the episodes, and we only
That's
made it
right.
through 1 because it was so slow, and we just got so bored and
Mm-hmm.
just felt like it was a recap of season 1, basically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I remember that watch party because the plan for the watch party was that we were going to watch 2 episodes. We were going to watch 2,
yeah.
remember?
Mm-hmm.
And we all went into it expecting to watch episode 1 and 2. And when we got to the end of that episode, we were all like, I can't do another one, dude. Just
Mm-mm.
no way. And we stopped it there.
Yep.
And yeah, I remember that, man. That was, whew,
And
well, it was rough.
it was so hard for me
Mm-hmm.
to watch episode 2. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that was probably the hardest thing of this whole series was for me to watch episode 2 because I deal in Star Wars stuff and I wanted to be on top of things,
Yep.
and to to start episode 2, after we'd watched episode 1, it was boring, and for it to be a little less boring wasn't as bad, but it was like, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
there's 10 more of these shows, and I just, I'm not
I
sure if I can
know.
make it. And then they get to see
Yeah.
episode 3 and then 4. And, actually at 4, when they had that, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Andor season 2, you don't want to hear spoilers. Watch this show after you've watched Andor season 2. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in episode 4, at the end of episode 4, or actually halfway through episode 4, uh, when Mon Mothma is dancing at that party and she's just
Oh
slamming
gosh.
those shots, I was like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, can they drag this out any longer? I mean, we get it. She's upset that her beau or maybe her lover, I don't know who he was. I know they grew up together, but apparently he was killed because they weren't sure he's going to be able to keep his mouth shut about the rebellion. Do you remember that guy? Oh, I guess Steve must have dropped
Okay.
off.
Oops. Sorry,
Oh,
Mike. Repeat that, please. I'm sorry, buddy. What'd you say there?
the guy that was on the planet with Mon Mothma,
Yes.
like her friend, or he grew up with her, and I
Hmm.
think the husband was kind of jealous of him, thought maybe they were
Yeah.
lovers or something,
Hmm.
and Luthen had him killed.
Yes. Yes.
It
I
doesn't ever
forgot.
show. Doesn't
How
ever
did he?
show it.
I was gonna say I was trying to remember that. I'm like, how did he have him? How did he have him killed, or was it implied? Do you remember?
Well, do you remember the redheaded girl who was Mon Mothma's niece?
Oh gosh, dude.
She was with the rebellion at the very end.
Okay.
She's there, and her she has a girlfriend.
Oh, I remember her now. Yeah, I do. Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
the girlfriend had disappeared after like a year,
Mhm.
and then you see the girlfriend driving that guy away in a chauffeur, and she worked for Luthen. So I think that what happened is that she killed him.
She killed
The
him,
friend, Mon
the
Mothma's
friend.
friend.
Wow. Okay then.
Yeah, so he wouldn't, talk to
That's
the
awful.
Empire. Oh, the
Jeez.
Russell saying the dance was in episode 3. Okay, so maybe that's why I was telling Steve to wait till episode 4 and he'd like it.
Yeah, you told me to get to episode 4 and it starts to turn.
I think
And it
wasn't
did. It started,
the end of episode 4, is that when they blew up that building after they killed the doctor
dude.
who
I
had
don't remember. Yeah.
uh you know uh Andor's girlfriend slash wife.
Yes.
Remember the doctor like tortured her in
Mm,
season 1,
that's
and
true.
she was having all those bad nightmares,
Yep.
and then they went in there and she was able to, I guess, redeem herself by killing the doctor, and they
Yes.
blew up the
Yes.
building, and
That's right.
you see
Uh-huh.
Andor and his girlfriend walking away at the end. I think that
Mhm.
was the end of season 4 or episode 4, season 4.
Mm. That
Anyway,
sounds right. That sounds right, yeah.
maybe that's why I was like, hey, end of you know episode 4 is when it starts taking off. So
Yeah, and episode 5 started to really crank up the machine, in terms of, like, really getting better, I think, and
yeah,
once it gets to 6, man, I'm telling you right now, when you start episode 6 through 12 are a fantastic. They are really done well,
yeah,
and I was never bored in 6 through 12, not one time. I thought everything made sense, the dialogue and the story
hmm,
that before would just go on forever, like, seemingly without any purpose.
yeah,
It was not in 6 through 12, the dialogue made it all had a purpose. It made sense, it fit, and you could almost feel the tension building as you watched each episode of 6, 7, 8, 9, and you're seeing what's happening, right? It's unfolding, and you're invested in the characters at this point,
yeah,
and you start to see the bigger picture, especially knowing Rogue One, you know
yeah,
the big picture, and you start to really feel for the people because, spoiler alert again to everybody, you really, yeah, don't, if you're still here, then I'm gonna assume you want spoilers because, yeah, that's just, yeah, we're gonna go. Is that cool with you, Mike? We're gonna go
yeah.
forward with
I
that.
already gave him a warning.
You did give a warning, so I think we're clear. But as you see people, even before Rogue One, where everybody dies, even in episodes 6 through 12, as they get more progressive, you're already seeing people die.
I know.
You're seeing it's like leading up to Rogue One, and it just continues.
Yep.
And it's like everybody dies just about, even in the series.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, yeah, the poor dude, I say poor dude, the guy that was in the Empire, he was the older gentleman. He was working with the blonde girl, the
Oh
supervisor,
yeah. The boss guy.
the boss guy who was I think sympathetic to the rebellion. I know she was, right? I don't know if he was or not. What did you feel? The reason I said that is because the guy above him, the older, even older guy above him. No, he's younger than him, I think. But the super old dude that was at the table at the end in like episode 11 or 12, and
And shot himself.
he shot himself. Yes, that guy. I'm like, the dude who was, I guess the guy that went in there to probably arrest him,
Yeah,
but he, I guess he understood with the blaster what was going to happen,
yeah,
and
yep,
so he let him take himself out with versus the shame and the prison time that was going to come up, and
yep.
so he walked out there, remember, and he was like, no, like nobody move.
Yeah, he just stood there, and when the blaster went off and the stormtroopers jumped, he like kind of held his hand up.
He held his hand up.
He
Yeah,
didn't say anything; he just held his hand up.
it's like, okay, yeah, because he knew what was going to go down,
Yeah,
because the guy that shot himself, obviously, I thought, my assumption was he's going to get in trouble for being sympathetic to the rebellion, but maybe it was just because everything would turn into a total blank show, a
yep,
shoot show under his command.
yeah. No, I don't believe he had any sympathy for the rebellion. He
Okay,
was in it. He was Empire 100%,
all right,
and
he blew it.
he was a scapegoat. I
Yep.
mean,
Mm-hmm.
um, Deidre,
Yep.
the blonde-headed girl,
That's right. The supervisor.
she um, she was thrown under the bus too, because basically
Yes.
all of her, if she wouldn't have grabbed the Death Star schematics and had them in her home drive or her personal files,
Yep.
and that other guy who was the spy for Luthen wouldn't have saw it, she wouldn't have ever
Mm-hmm.
gotten in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but you compound her having that information, the guy finds it, and she allows Luthen to kind of off himself with, when
Mm-hmm.
he killed himself. It
He
just,
did too. That's right.
they, she's lucky she didn't get killed.
Mm-hmm. She is.
They put her in jail, like they did Cassian Andor. You see her at the very end sitting in a cell when they turn the lights out.
Yep.
And real quick, I got some people we want to talk about. So I'm going to put this person on real quick, and you give me your thoughts. And that's Luthen.
That's Luthen. Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they were calling it Luthen's Rebellion because he's the one who basically started it all.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts about this guy?
Oh yeah, I mean, he was kind of one of those characters where you trust him, but you don't like fully trust him into it. It's almost like,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, he did some things that were helpful, but I never fully trusted this guy ever.
No. I mean,
No.
you knew what he stood for, and you
Yes.
knew if you wavered either way, you were going to be left behind or you were going to be taken out.
Exactly.
The guy
That's
was
right.
ruthless. He loved the people, but he loved his ideals more.
Mm-hmm.
And he went, during the show, they would say, they would give you the countdown before the Battle of Yavin with,
Mm-hmm.
they would say BBY 5
Yep.
or BBY 2.
Yep.
And he died right before he could see the rebellion
It's true.
defeat the Empire. I thought that was the saddest
Mm-hmm.
moment, I mean, but his convictions were so strong, he was ready to die for his beliefs, and he did.
Yeah, he did.
I think what was his pseudo daughter's name?
I don't remember her name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Tua or something, I thought.
Well, it's a good thing she was, and I'm sorry, Mike, I cut you off. I shouldn't do that. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that she got into the hospital,
Yes.
and I thought she was
Brilliantly.
she was going to try to. Um, no, her name was Clea.
Okay.
I thought she was
Yeah,
going
Clea.
to
That's right.
uh, save him,
You're right. Like
basically
try to maybe rescue him or get him
rescue
out or
him. Yeah,
something.
that's
Yeah.
Clea. She was
Yeah,
going to
that's her.
rescue him, and when she found out he was hooked up to all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
she realized that she had to kill him so he wouldn't give up any secrets.
That's right. I mean, he was on that artificial breather. He wasn't even breathing on his own.
Hmm.
I mean, I think he was in a coma basically. I don't, he his failed attempt to take himself out. Gotta be careful with YouTube. His
Yeah.
failed attempt at that was unfortunate because I mean, all of it's unfortunate, but I mean, because he wasn't successful at completing this job with doing that, it put her in a position where she was now could be exposed and captured but she was slick and she was tough.
Oh, she
And
was so tough.
I love the flashbacks that they showed with her and Luthen when she was a kid growing up. And
Yep.
I thought, like, this isn't fluff material. This is all very, very important because it shows you how she became who she is now and just tough as
Hmm.
nails, dude. And
Yep.
I agree with what you said. I think she went in the hospital room trying to get him out, possibly. And when she saw his condition, basically comatose and breathing artificially, I think you're right. She made a decision that, you know what, Luthen already would have wanted that because he tried it on himself earlier.
Yeah. I was going to say that exact same thing that, you know, she wouldn't have been doing me any favors. She would just left him there on the machine
Yeah.
or tried to, rescue him. I mean, if she could have made a successful rescue, I'm sure she would have, but um, there was no
Yeah.
way to do it. So
No way.
yeah, she would have. She did. I think she did exactly what he wanted to happen.
Yeah.
So
Same here.
okay, I thought, and back me up if you think this is true.
Okay.
I thought that when Andor came back to Coruscant to rescue Luthen,
Hmm.
but he didn't know Luthen was, in the hospital or whatever, and Clea was there, I was almost 150% sure they were going to kill her off during that whole
Mm.
scene when she's in the little apartment and it's
Hmm.
it's Cassian and
Oh
the other
yeah.
guy. I was
The other
just
guy
waiting
and the
for it.
robot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
was waiting
droid.
for the other guy or
Yep.
Clea to get killed, and I'm just sitting there waiting and
Yep.
waiting, and then the robot comes and saves him, and I'm like,
Hmm.
"You're kidding me!" And she ends up on Yavin 4, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Man, that is fantastic!" It made me happy that I was wrong.
Right. Exactly. Because I could see it coming, dude. Writing's on the wall. She's going out.
Yep.
Yeah, you could just feel it. And before you get off of her, I wanted to ask you a question, and I think I'm completely correct on this. But isn't this the little daughter at the beginning of Rogue One that was with the man and the woman, and who gets killed by that Empire general, not general, but officer? Remember in Rogue One? Now,
Yeah.
because this series gave us, and I may be overlapping here, so help me. But to my mind and memory, this series helps us see what happens to Kalu or Kayla, whatever this
Mhm.
character after the series in Rogue One when the parents are killed and she's in hiding or whatever. I guess what I was trying to say is since Rogue One came out first, right?
Yeah.
They had to connect some dots. They had to give history. So if this is the same girl at the beginning of Rogue One, I think it is.
No.
It's not. Well, then never mind. I don't
Mm-mm.
want you to talk about it anymore
Yeah,
then.
I don't think they ever have Clea
Okay.
come back, and I don't even think she's in Rogue One.
Oh,
Um,
she wasn't that girl. Okay.
no.
Yeah. I was just
Russell
wondering.
says, I think it was her in Rogue One. Hold on one second.
I think it was. I think that was her character too. But
The main character that was hiding in the dirt.
the little girl. Yeah, there's a little girl. Remember, there's a man and a woman and a little girl, and the officer's coming out there to get some information or from the guy, and they end up killing him and the wife. And that's why I thought in this series we see who took care of her, Luthen. Because remember, she was hiding in that thing,
She's hiding down in that little pit hole.
In that little pit hole, and we see Luthen find her, and then we see how he raised her.
No, it wasn't Luthen who found her. It was
who was that? The founder.
It was oh my gosh. It was Saw Gerrera. It was Forrest Whitaker who found her. And the girls
in Rogue One.
Yeah, and the girl's name was Jyn Erso.
So these are two different girls altogether then. Okay.
Yes.
All right, never mind then. When we watch Rogue One again, I will know that what I'm seeing is not her. So was she made? She was strictly made up for Andor then.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Thanks for checking.
Sure.
You are the Carbonite Jedi.
I just want to make sure. It was, her name was, it's Clea Markey. That was her last name, Clea Markey. And then the girl in Rogue One is Jyn Erso.
That's character name. Okay.
We'll have to do a Rogue One watch just to make sure.
Yeah, just kind of get the cobwebs out a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I am going to.
I hear you, Russell. Me too, buddy. Especially with this much lore and backstories and characters crossing over in Star Wars. That happens a lot. It gets confusing.
All right. Now, I think that this actor was so torn and twisted, and I felt so bad for him.
Oh, I know who this is. Give me the Cocoa Puffs.
Cyril. Cyril finally realized at the end that he'd been played.
Yes,
he's walking around in a daze while people are getting murdered.
Yep.
And then he sees Andor and he flips out. I guess he was trying to take out his anger on someone, and he saw Andor and wanted to do that. But I mean, it was so sad because he sit there and he thought he was doing a good job trying to create order and harmony in the Empire by going undercover and doing this stuff. And it was sad. He told Deidre, he's like, today's the best day of my life, when he talked to Deidre's boss, and Deidre's boss is like, good job, on finding that information and going undercover. And then he finds out that they're just jacking people, and then he gets shot in the head. So
I know, bro. I'm like, wow. That's when, like, what I like. And that's another thing I liked about this second. Well, really, I'm just going to call it episodes 6 through 12. It's the second half of the season. They started getting darker and darker as we got into it further and further. And I was like shocked when you could kind of see it coming. It's like you could see the buildup, the anger, the bewilderment, if you will. Of he was a lost soul at that point.
Very much so. Yep. Yeah.
He really was, man. And I felt bad for him right then in that moment.
So they're on the planet Gorman. The Empire is like barricaded themselves in this building, and the captain or whoever sends these new recruits out to open up a
Oh
line
gosh.
to look at this monument.
Yes.
And it's so much BS when he sends them out there. I
It's
mean,
all set up.
it
Yeah.
was all a setup, and then all of a sudden you see this guy laying prone on the roof with his sniper rifle, and he's got
Hmm.
Empire markings on himself, and you're like, no, he's not going to do that. And then he does it. He shoots his own
Yep.
guys
Yep.
just to create this false sense
Uh-huh.
of I don't know what you call it, but just to
Well,
create a big havoc.
well, and also, Mike, because the Empire was wanting to ultimately take over, and this was showing the Gremlin, not Gremlin. What was the name of that planet?
Gorman.
Gorman, the Gremlins. But I think another reason, Mike, is that the Empire. That's why it's such a setup and a charade, because
Hmm.
they wanted the news that goes out to the galaxy to
Yep.
be the Gormans attacked the
Hmm.
Empire. They're see that the Empire is the good guys here. They're defending themselves,
Yep.
and therefore, when they progress on their mission, it's going to be accepted because hey, man, the Gormans would not be peaceful. They got
Yep.
violent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the media, they control the media, and it just brainwashed people. I mean, look at Cyril's
Yeah.
mom.
Oh
She was
gosh.
sending him all
Yes.
that, talking about how the Gorman were, starting rebellions and all this other stuff. And it was crazy how they were able to manipulate the media to flip flop it like you're
Yeah.
talking about and make
That's right.
Gorman look, mean.
That's right.
She's like, what did she say? She said, they're a bunch of rich, greedy people or something like that. And I'm like,
Hmm.
you know, they didn't seem like that.
No, they weren't at all. I
Mm-mm.
mean, the it's just, I think it was also a little bit of a meta commentary on how the media paints pictures today in our real world.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into politics or anything. I'm just
Mm-mm.
saying,
It's
I don't think any of us could disagree that there are some parallels.
very true. That
Hmm.
is very true. But yeah, I felt
Yeah,
bad for Cyril.
I did
And
too.
Deidre should have told him, you know, but
Yeah, I know.
she was more interested in her career than
That's right.
yeah.
Promotion. Want to get the
They
next
had
level.
such a weird relationship in season 2,
It was, dude.
you know.
Really was weird. And then by the end of the later episodes, I'm just beginning to wonder if it was all a charade from Deidre's part because it's
I
like the
don't
relationship is devolving, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, when she talked to um, Cyril's mom about where she was raised,
Yeah.
she just had no emotion. She's like, my parents were criminals, and
Hmm.
I was raised in a youth farm or something like that. And
Right.
I'm sure that really affected her emotionally. So maybe what she was doing was the most she could give of
Well,
herself
it could be.
to Cyril. I mean, because when he came back from Gorman, um, when he came back from Gorman and he went in, and she's like, "We have an hour. Turn off the lights." I'm
I
like,
know. It's like, dude, it's like, gotta get to it. This is it.
that's true love right there.
Yeah, it is. Like, wow, got 1 hour. I know. I was like, because he was like wanting to be more like romantic and kind of,
Mhm.
talk and visit, whatever. No, she's no time for that. It's like she's giving him the business.
Giving him the business. Oh my gosh. Um, let's see. Let me find a couple of more. Where is okay?
Dang.
All right. So I also felt really bad for this person here. Um,
Okay.
I think that, well, I'll let me show who it is, and I'll just discuss Mon Mata.
Oh yeah.
So it seemed like the people of the rebellion were the down and out people who were getting trodden upon by the empire. They weren't the rich, and they weren't the influential. you
Mm-hmm.
had you had all these people, like, I mean, Andor, he came from the slums. He was raised, and was a petty thief, all those things. And all these people were just like ragtag bunches of people that had no money or power or influence. But Mon Mothma did. And that, I think
Mm-hmm.
that separates her from a lot of people who were in the rebellion, is that she was raised rich. She
She
had a
was.
she had everything she could ever want, and she gave it all away
Yep.
because she felt like, this was something that needed to be righted. The empire was evil and cruel.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the one time I got so mad is probably because I got a daughter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm sure you'll remember it, is when right before her daughter's wedding, she talks to her daughter, and she's very heartfelt. She's like, we can leave right now, you know.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
she's like,
Yes.
my mom showed up to my wedding drunk and didn't really
Mm-hmm.
give a crap or whatever. And then she
Yep.
goes, sweetheart, we can leave right now. We can just walk out these doors and leave, and you don't have
Mm-hmm.
to get married. And then the daughter has the gall to look at her mom and say, I wish you were drunk.
Yeah.
I would have like force choked her. I mean, what audacity,
I
to
know.
for a young little girl to talk to her mom like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then her sleazeball husband. Oh my gosh. The
Oh
guy
gosh.
was really handsome, but he was probably having trysts and relationships with all the women. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
at the very end of the season, or at the end of season 2, you see a short snippet of him in the car with his friend's wife. And did you
That's
remember that?
right. I do. Glad you
Okay.
said it. Yep.
And one thing I always am going to wonder is what happened to the daughter. Did she have a miserable life with that guy that she
Mm-hmm.
had to marry?
Yep.
So um,
Yeah,
that's
man.
one of the unanswered questions from Andor season 2 that I wish they would have answered.
This is true. I don't know, man. We'll never get the answer unless it's the writers come out and say something about it. Otherwise, yeah, we'll never know.
Well, Russell, the only way he could become a Jedi is if he became a Force ghost, because he
Yeah.
dies in Rogue One, if you don't remember.
Yeah, he's toast, man. Literally. Yep.
So, what were your feelings about Mon Mata?
Yeah, I liked her. I was so over the freaking wedding ceremony and the dancing and the
Hmm.
I that's like just drug the movie down so slow. But having said that, the character as far as the character goes, I thought that she was a good character. She really wanted the rebellion to succeed. And she I thought she did probably the best she could in that situation, especially when it came time where the emperor gave orders that she wasn't going to be allowed to speak.
Hmm.
And you know how what happened. She found a way to get rustled in there with Andor, getting her in there to her spot,
Hmm.
and she did get her speech done. They were trying to pull the plug on the broadcast because it really did not help the Empire side at all. And she was even getting booed right there by other
I
senators.
did.
I'm like, really?
If you remember, in I believe it was Revenge of the Sith, when um, Padme is
Uh-huh.
with the senator from it was Princess Leia's dad.
Okay.
Um, he was the
Oh,
senator
yeah.
from Alderaan.
That's
They're
right.
both in the booth and they're watching the Emperor, and he
Mhm.
gets like total control of the Senate,
Oh,
and
yes.
he does like all these orders,
Yep.
and she's like, "This is how." What you say? This is how liberty
Oh,
dies.
this is how
This,
freedom dies or liberty. I think it's freedom.
yeah, this is how freedom dies, and with thunderous
That's right.
applause.
That's
And
thunderous applause. That's right.
so,
Yep.
I mean, I think it just got worse from there. And Mon Mothma's sitting there and she's spouting truths, and she's got,
Mhm.
receipts, and nobody wants to hear it. So they're trying
Nope.
to boo her so she, can't be heard.
That's right.
And, you know,
Unreal, isn't it?
it is. The truth always has a way of coming out, though.
It does. It always will. What's done in the dark will be seen in the light one day. And then they tried to freaking arrest her.
They did. I
Remember
mean,
that? They were like,
yeah.
"Woo."
Yeah, they had one of those secret agents that was working for
Yes.
uh,
He
Bail
was
Organa. That was his name.
Yes,
For
that's right.
Senator Bail Organa, one of the
Mhm.
Empire agents was there,
Yep,
and Andor had to shoot her.
that's right. That's when they were outside, right?
They were like in the halls or
In the
something,
halls, yeah.
and then
Oh,
her
yeah, that's right.
helper was like, "It's a rebel spy,"
Yeah.
to throw him off. But
Yep.
all right, I have one more person we need to talk about,
All right.
and I'm sure you can guess who that is.
I got a hunch, but we'll see.
That's not it. It is Diego Luna,
Of course. There he
Cassian
is.
Andor.
Yep. Wow, look at
So
that. He looks so wow.
yeah, with the long
Looks
hair,
different.
a
Yeah.
little Johnny Deppish.
That's what I was thinking too. Like, oh, he's doing the Johnny Depp look. But yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Hey
You were saying?
Russell, real quick. Hey
Hmm.
Russell,
Yeah.
the guy who played Saw in Andor season 2 is the same guy who played it in Rogue One. So yeah, I was pretty hyped when they brought him in.
Hmm. Hey, speaking of that, Mike, on that note, exact
Uh-huh.
note right there you just said,
Yeah.
because I haven't cross-checked it yet, but I
Mhm.
know that in Rogue One, Forrest P. Whitaker's back, and I know that, well, I didn't know about Saul, this character, but now you've confirmed another one.
That's
They were
Forrest
able to get
Whitaker.
that. Oh, Saul is Forrest Whitaker. That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Then all right. They
And
were
and
able to
direct they were able to hire him back, and
hire him. Who?
Director Krennic.
Director Krennic is. They got back in
Yep.
the series. Were there any other characters other than the droid that they
The
were able to get from Rogue One into this series, season 2 at
So it
least?
was the droid, like you said,
Yep.
KSO,
Mm-hmm.
the droid, Director Krennic, and Saw, who was
Okay.
Forrest
He,
Whitaker.
yeah. So those are the only ones then that they got into the series to help connect the movie to the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So every other character in Rogue One we're going to meet again, rewatch it. They're all new to the rebellion as we know
Uh,
it at the end of Andor.
yes.
Got it. Makes
Yep.
sense. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean,
We'll keep
I'd
our
have
eyes
to.
out.
Yeah, I saw Rogue One once when it first came out, and I haven't seen it
Mm-hmm.
since. So,
Yep.
I'll
I've
have
seen
to.
it twice. That's it, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, thoughts about
Oh yeah.
Andor?
I mean, he's a good character, obviously. He's also kind of got, he kind of has a little Han Solo in him too.
Yeah.
a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, because he's also like he's in it for him and the rebellion. And
Hmm.
I think as the series grew, he got more and more committed to the rebellion and the mission. And he became a real believer in just trying to destroy this weapon once that came out and the Death Star. Um, I like him. There's a I mean, for the most part, I don't have really much negative to say. I'm just thinking right now. You know, I mean, there's uh, his wife, his girlfriend would get a little on my nerves. I mean, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, he was a straight shooter, man. For the most part, he was really just, and like he would tell her, no, you can't do that because this is going to happen. You can't. You got to start thinking. Really, you got. So overall, my feeling on end of the character Andor is he was good, he meant well, and everything he did was for the right reason, moral compass wise, for the most that unless I'm forgetting something. I thought he was good. He was. I'm not. I was not going to lie to you. I'm not like a huge fan of him as the lead character. Um, I don't know. That's just my own personal
Hmm.
preference, I guess. Or maybe it's how they wrote him, the character, a little bit. But I'm fine with Andor. Not a whole lot to say other than I do believe he's as the show continued further into the season two, you could see where I think his heart, his convictions were really about doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You may feel different. I'm open to hear that too, because I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with the guy. I could take him or leave him, honestly. Um, just wasn't. I'm just maybe I think a different actor I would have liked in their role. Let me just say that.
Okay.
It's not any personal bias against this guy. I just think someone that I don't know, just someone else might have brought his character to life a little more. That's all I'm thinking. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll stop there.
I think when I first met him, I absolutely did not like his character in
Hmm.
season one.
Yep.
Um, he was looking for his sister, if you remember the
Okay.
first two episodes, and his his pathway to the rebellion was because those two guys tried to jump him outside that bar when he was looking for his sister at that topless bar,
Uh huh. Yep.
and he killed him.
Hmm.
And um, so
Okay.
his two main goals was when he first started was looking for his sister and money. He was all about the
That's
money.
true.
And that's how
Yep.
he got picked up by Luthen because Luthen was like, tempting him with money. And then he's like, I got something that's way more than money. And you
Hmm.
can see his character progress to where he becomes less of a rogue and more of a patriot, I guess.
Right. That's a good word. Yeah.
And um, I I really liked him in season two, and I think that he was gung ho, and then halfway through season two, he's dealing with Bix, his girlfriend, and she's having
Yeah.
issues, and
Yes, she
he's like
is.
really worn down, having
Yep.
to go jump through hoops for Luthen that he didn't want to do it anymore. If you remember, he
That's
was
true.
he was
He
ready to
didn't.
quit.
Yeah.
He told Bix he was ready to quit, and then she left.
Yep. She
And
did.
I think her leaving was so wrong on so many levels, you know,
Yep.
and she's probably one of my most, I hated is a strong word, but it's almost what it is because she
Hmm.
left without telling him that he had a child.
I know. I drove me when I saw that dude. I'm like, are you kidding me? This guy doesn't even know he has a child. That is not right at
And
all.
he'll never know because he dies,
And he'll
you
never
know?
know. He sure, that's right.
And she's sitting there, cooing with the baby,
Yep.
looking up at the sky in the wheat field, looking all happy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you witch.
Yep.
You are a witch with a capital B. Uh, you need to get whipped. I mean, you
Yeah.
withheld that information from him. It doesn't matter if he's going to stay with the rebellion or leave the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
He had a right to know, and you
Yeah, he
took that
did.
from him, and it wasn't her right to do that.
No, it's not.
So
Told you I had issues with her.
that
Did
that
not.
was my major
Yeah.
issue. I mean, I can understand trying to
Mm-hmm.
take medicine to clear your mind
Yeah.
from
Oh yeah.
past trauma and stuff, but that
Yeah.
one thing just set me off. I mean, because I put myself in his shoes, and I think I would definitely want to know my child, and I would want to know to get them better. I probably would have quit the rebellion, to be honest. I
I was
mean,
gonna say, I bet you would, because the risk that you were about to take.
hmm
I mean, it's absolutely the likelihood of surviving. Well, we know what happens, but I'm just saying beforehand, the likelihood of surviving is slim. You know it's slim. This is the Empire, and
yep.
if you say I've got a child back here, I would probably quit the rebellion, Mike. I would be right beside you, dude, because
hmm
those are, I mean, that's a life and death choice right there.
Yep. And not only are you dying in Rogue One, but
Yeah.
you can't protect your family after that.
No, I can't.
So
Yes,
yeah,
true.
makes me sad
Yep.
thinking of it. Yeah.
It's a sad, it's a very sad series and movie. It's not a happy movie. It's not one of those movies like most Star Wars where when it's over at the very end you feel good. That whatever
Yeah.
happened, it ended right. And that's not going to happen with Rogue One and
Mm-mm.
or Andor, the series. And I'm like, the writers did not have to put that in there, dude. I'm
No.
like, they did that on just on purpose to spark this kind of a emotion we're talking about.
Yep.
Yep.
It pissed me off.
Like, yeah, let's make him really mad. Let's make her have a child, and he'll never know. And then they wrote, "I'm dude, why? Just don't put the child in there. You know, like show her looking at the sky and being happy in the wheat field by herself."
Yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is. We can't. It's out there. But anyway,
Yeah. They should have have the after Rogue One picture. We're out in the field, learning that he dies.
oh yeah, yeah. Dang.
Russell, I don't believe George Lucas produced any of the episodes of Andor.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he does anything for Disney at all anymore.
No, he took his some odd $100 billion check and living a good life.
Well, I didn't know this. I thought he did the same thing, but he worked with Kathleen Kennedy. He and Kathleen Kennedy were like the co-chairs of Lucasfilm when it
Oh
got
yeah,
bought by Disney.
yeah.
And then he stepped back after a while and let Kathleen Kennedy take over, which was horrific.
Well,
But
yeah. We know the results of that.
I know the
Acolyte.
score of that game.
Exactly. Acolyte love. I
Oh my gosh.
love our inside jokes. No one is going to understand why we're laughing at that. But if you know, you know, and very few do. Sorry, but it's a thing.
It's an us thing.
It's an us thing, bro. Yes, it is.
So, like I said before, Bix was the person I hated the most.
Yeah.
Um, the one scene I thought was hilarious, uh, real
Mhm.
quick, is when Deidre's in that holding cell and Director Krennic comes in and he
Mhm.
puts his finger on top of her
Dude.
head. He's
Yes.
like pushing her head and popping her head
Yes.
and stuff.
Wow. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine? I wonder
know.
if they said anything after they were like cut, and the actors like, ow, my head, you know?
Yeah, or especially, and I doubt it was, but especially if that was a unscripted thing. Like
Oh,
if the
probably.
actor just said, "I'm just going to do this for the," and she didn't know it was coming. Could you
Hmm.
imagine? It's possible.
Yeah, very possible.
Well, Mike, I just want to say, I know we're probably getting ready to wrap here, but I just got to say thank you for continuing to prod me forward and 2 and 3 and most of 4 to
Yeah.
get me to 5, because that's when I started to see a turn.
Yep.
And
Me
then
too.
6, yeah, in 6, everything's out the window, and it's foot metal to the metal in
Yep.
6. So,
Yeah. And I think they kind of like, I think that's how they were trying to um, ramp it like in
mhm.
season one. It just didn't work though,
No, it did not.
because, he's on that nasty planet, and then he gets
Yep.
put in jail, and then he's back on the
Mhm.
nasty planet.
Yeah,
The
right.
jail, I mean, it had its ebbs and flows about, how interesting it was. It was interesting for a little bit, then it wasn't, and it was interesting again, and then it wasn't. And then he goes back to the planet that he's from, and they have the rebellion there,
Yep.
and after his mom dies or whatever. And
Mhm.
season one, I didn't like it, but
It was
season
awful.
two, oh, and the director of the series, was it Tony Gilroy, or um,
I know that name or Guillory, but I don't know.
it was yeah, Tony Gilroy, who created
Okay.
it. And he said he had to beg Disney for the money to make this series,
Wow.
and they told him that live streaming was dead, and they were trying to focus more on the movies. So I think after
Huh.
Ahsoka comes out, see Ahsoka season two, that we probably won't be seeing much live streams. We'll probably see more animated stuff. So
Now, when you say live streams, do you mean series?
I mean series. Sorry, I got live streams on the brain. Yeah,
Yeah,
we won't see more.
streaming
Real
series.
real people. TV
Ah,
series.
that's too bad.
Will be more animated stuff.
Yeah,
So,
cheaper, much cheaper to do
oh yeah,
that.
way cheaper. Unless they come out with Acolyte too.
Oh no,
We'll be
that.
front row watching that.
Oh Lord, dude, that's almost like the series that should never be spoken of again is Acolyte in season 1 of Andor. Like I would tell someone, if you've never seen Andor, watch the season 1 recap
Hmm.
and then watch season 2.
Yeah. If I was the director of Lucasfilm, or
Mm-hmm.
the whatever Kathleen
Mm.
Kennedy's title is,
Yeah.
I would have 3 or 4 series out, and they would focus on one person, or each
Mm-hmm.
series would focus on one person. I
Mm-hmm.
would do Obi-Wan season 2.
Yes,
Um,
please.
I would do that. I would do a Darth Revan series.
Hmm.
Uh, awesome character. I would do
Okay.
Samuel Jackson's character. Uh,
Quinn,
uh,
Jen, can one.
no, that was not Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, no, that's right. That's the other guy.
Why am I blanking this, man?
Bro, I don't. Well,
It's
it's
my,
late, man. It's getting late. Yeah, it's
Scary, the time for bed.
exactly. I'm with
yes.
you.
uh,
Well, anyway, I know you're
Mace
talking Mace
Windu.
Venue. We said it at the same time. It just popped in my head,
Yeah,
just like
Mace
that.
Windu. I would
Yes.
have a Mace Windu series and a
Okay.
possible Darth Vader series.
Now you're talking.
So I mean, out of those four,
Yeah.
You know, that would bring the live stream back. It wouldn't have to cost a ton. Darth Maul, yeah, Darth Maul needs a
Yeah.
series too.
Yeah, that would be
You
be
know,
all
what'd be
right.
cool is having an Obi-Wan season 2 and a Darth Maul season 1 and 2, and at the end have like the finale for
Yeah.
Maul and Obi-Wan, to where, because Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul. Spoiler:
Right.
Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul for good when he's older on Tatooine, because Darth Maul comes to Tatooine looking for him. So it would be cool to have like the episode finale for both episodes be the same
Uh-huh.
thing, where it's like a crossover, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really love to
Yeah.
see a Mace Windu have it to where he comes back
Mhm.
after getting thrown out that window.
Yep. I would love Darth Vader. I mean, I'd like to see what happens after Anakin is pulled from the lava beach in Sith, and to where we see him in New Hope.
Yeah,
Um,
there's so much lore in
yes, that's
in
the
the in
word.
the books and stuff
Yeah.
about him, but Disney won't use it.
No. Yeah, that's
They
it.
want to do something to either make him look weak or,
Hmm.
something. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, thank you, Steve, for
Yeah.
watching Andor and sticking in there.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad that we did this. Thanks for the
Yes,
invite.
Mace Windu didn't die. And thanks, Russell, for being a loyal supporter to my channel, Steve's channel, and the Movie Bros.
Yep,
And
that's
we
right.
appreciate you.
Very
And
much, Russell. Thank you, buddy.
for anybody else out there, thank you for being here and joining the show. And Steve, you
Hmm.
got anything going on with your channel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be live streaming on Saturday nights. So this Saturday, I'm going to be doing I call it Saturday Night Scream, and
Mm.
it is all about Scream talk from the franchise. And a week from Saturday, I'm really happy to share that I'm going to have a real special guest, Mike. His name is Mike from We Watched a Movie, which is a very large content creator, and he's a huge Stu truther. He's on the Stu train. We're gonna have so much fun. He loves Scream, so he's gonna be joining me. I was very excited on the 14th at 7 p.m. Central, and we're gonna talk Stu and Scream, and who knows what else may come up. It's gonna be a great time. So that's what's going on in the next week or so, week and a half.
Awesome. Hey, Paula,
Hey, Paula.
better late than never.
Yeah,
That's what I
you can
say.
hear us. You can hear us say goodnight, and you can watch the replay. It's all good.
So I think next week, if Steve's up for it, we might try to do a Rogue One movie watch.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that way we
I'm sure
can
we can work it out. Yeah.
try to do that and wrap up Andor.
Just wrap it
So
up, buddy. Put a bow on it.
sad. Everyone dies in the end.
It's all nothing but death. But it's they. You know what? If it wasn't for them, there would be no Luke Skywalker saving the day.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was
Yeah,
all worth it.
rebel base. He would have been a Empire fire. He would have
Yep.
been an Empire pilot.
Sure would have gone to the
He's going
academy.
to the Academy. Yeah, the Empire
Hmm.
Academy.
That's right.
Well, all right, everybody.
All right, guys.
Y'all have a good evening, and thanks again, Steve, for coming in. And I'll see
Yeah.
you
Thank you.
backstage.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
Bye.